Hey there, so what's happening? So I am going to try to attempt something. I bought from the store I love to hate, Amazon, a thing called a pulse width modulator. And here's the number to it, and I'll put a link down in the description. And then this is what it looks like. It came with no instructions except for basically where to put your wires at. Now it has digital numbers that go from, I think, 0 to 100. And then here's a dial that's attached to it. And then here we have a off, forward, and reverse switch. I'm going to attempt to put this in my Minn Kota 30-pound thrust trolling motor. Now I've seen videos where people have the finished product and how it works, but I couldn't find anybody that actually showed doing the work. I've also got a little fan to help cool it off, because from what I've read research wise, they do get a little warm, and being as that I'm going to try to put this in the head unit, I thought it'd be nice to have a little fan in there, and I might even cut some slits in it or something, but I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't even know if I can do it. I paid, like, for the fan and everything, it was $30. So now what a pulse width modulator does, and I didn't even know that you could buy such a thing. I just happened to find out through looking at trolling motors and stuff. But what it does is it makes your 8-speed, your regular speed trolling motor, like 1 through 5, and then you got the 3 backup. It makes it so that it's variable, so that you've got 1 through 100 speeds is basically what it is. And it makes it a whole lot easier for control. And to my understanding, it also makes the battery life last longer. Now, I don't know how all that works, and to be honest with you, I don't even really care about that, even though it would be nice if it did. So I'm going to show y'all the process and be getting pissed off and everything. But yeah, like I said, I don't know how this is going to fit in here. I've seen a couple of people like with the finished product, and I'm sure I'm going to have to cut out some stuff. Now if this doesn't work, you know what, I really don't care, because I've got enough gift cards to Bass Pro to where I'm going to go buy me a 55-pound thrust Minn Kota. So if this works, fine. But we'll just see and play it by ear. So stick around. Alright, so first we'll take this cover off right here. And to do that, there's a bunch of little screws all in the bottom here. And we're going to take those out first. This pulse width modulator actually came with a screwdriver, and it came with some connectors too. But yeah. And just like that, we get the cover off. So now let's see here. We need to figure out which wires go where. So what you want to do is take a picture with your phone so you know where everything is. So now we need to figure out what wires go where. So just so that we know where everything is, we're going to take pictures with our phone. Alright, so being that this didn't come with any instructions, what I've done is went and got a little battery that I had. It's a 12-volt battery and that my son had. And I have made some wires to go from this to the pulse width modulator. You just go to power there with the red one and that one there. And then once we have the power, you can see this here is the knob, and when you cut this is also your on and off switch. So when you rotate this, that's your speed now. So we know we got power to the unit, and then this is middle, I'm going to assume is off. And then you have one line and then two lines, and I don't know which is which, but one's forward and one's reverse. So what we have to figure out here now is what wires go to these two, which goes to, it says motor. Now I'm going to guess that it's a, well it is, it says power and negative, plus and minus. So these two wires here go from where your battery would be going to this switch. So this is a negative and this is a positive, and I'm guessing these two are for the speed. So I don't know if we have to run both of these together, but what I'm going to do is I need to make me some jumper wires because I don't have any jumper wires. And what I want to do is I want to go from here to the red and the black first just to see what happens, because I know that's not going to mess up anything. And that will give us power going to the motor down at the bottom, and we'll cut it on and see what happens. I'm guessing that's all we have to do, because all of our speed and everything is controlled through this box now instead of this switch. So basically this acts like a switch is what it does. So let me make up some jumper wires, and we're going to go with that and see what that does. Alright, so we got our ground here. And we got a hot, which I am assuming, because most of the time red and black is hot and minus. And let me get this turned around so that let me get to so that we can get it setting to where the motor will spin. And we're going to hook these up first. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now, assuming that we have juice coming out of this, which we should, and we are going to verify that with our multi-test meter here. So I don't know, can you all see that? Nope. I'll set it on this battery. And red to red, black to black. So let's turn this on. Careful not to touch our wires together. And let's see what kind of reading we have. and we are showing nothing because it's in the off position. So let's turn our switch on. And we have 12.9 volts, so that's good. I'm curious, we're at 38%. So this is interesting because I don't know if you can see the numbers or not. When you turn it off, I have 0 volts. I'm going to see if I can get y'all down here on this. This doesn't have a light on it, so I'm sorry. Let's see if we can turn this around so you can see it. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. So when I turn it on, we have like full voltage. And then as we turn it, it decreases. So I don't know, but we have voltage there, so that's a good thing. Like I said, this is new, so what we're going to do is we're going to clamp our negative to our negative and our positive to our positive. Now this goes directly down to the motor. Make sure these two wires do not touch. You all see me? No, you can't see it. So basically, we've attached our wires directly to the motor, is what I'm thinking. This is black, negative, positive. So what I'm going to do is, this is in either forward or reverse. I don't know which is which. We're going to turn our switch on and see what our motor does, which oh, that is so cool. So I want to bring y'all over here now. Check out our motor. So when I turn the switch on, and then I barely start to turn it. Look at that. Now right now we're sitting at 12, number 12. And I wish y'all could see this while I'm doing it. We're at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. And then we'll see if the other direction works. And there we go in the other direction. So that's a pretty simple installation. So that's a pretty simple wiring process there. Basically, the other two wires aren't going to do anything, so we can do away with those wires and do away with this whole switch assembly that's in the head. So, pretty cool. Positive, positive, negative to negative. So red, black, red, black. So we're all good there. So my next step is to be to try to put this in the head. So let's go there and see what happens. So I've taken the switch out, which basically was just two more wires. And if you ever take one of these apart, you can see they're actually labeled which colors go back together. So we're just gonna tape this yellow and white wire, being as we're not using them anymore. I want to keep them in there just in case if I ever decide to go back, I can, you know, go back to just regular like it came from the factory. So we're just going to take some black tape and we're just going to tape them together so they don't go nowhere. Alright, so these will not be used, so let's see how much room we have in this head, because I'd like to be able to use this handle still, and I don't think that's going to work. Because this thing is going to take up at least too much. So it looks like that we are already running into a problem. I'm going to get these wires out of the way for the time being. Yeah, there's not enough room for this box. Oh, no. No. Okay, so there's two screws that hold this in. There's one here. Let me stick this back in place. So basically this sets in here like this. And there's a screw here. And then there's a screw inside here. If you take those two screws out, this piece comes up and then it slides forward, and you can remove this. And you can remove this. So basically, you can take the cage out. Now, will this fit in here? Oh, it is so close. So close. Okay, so I think with a little modification here, I think I can get this to sit down. So let me get you a better view here. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. Right up here. I'm gonna take you off the stand so you can get a better picture. So this is what we're looking at. We're hitting here. We don't have enough room, so I think what I can do is if I shave this down, this edge right here, this will set right down in here. And I might even have enough room to put a fan on top of it. And maybe I'll take a little off of this edge right here too. And this will set right down on that piece. You know, I was thinking about removing all this, but I'm going to see how much room I have first with this in here. So I've got a Dremel tool. I'm going to take off a little bit of this plastic right here on both sides. So let's get that going on. So there's one thing that I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the video. This cage was actually, when I first bought it and took it out the box, this cage was wrapped in a piece of plastic that was like see-through, and it was stuck to this whole piece. You have to remove that before you can do anything. So keep that in mind when you go to put this in, because that'll hold heat in and probably cause it to run hotter. So yeah, I'd taken that off when I first got it so I wouldn't forget and leave it on there, but I'm not going to use this anyway, so it doesn't matter. So alright, just wanted to throw that in there. And just like that, look at that, sits right in there perfect. Now, I'm just trying to see if this sits on or not. And it does not. Oh no. So basically it's hitting this piece right here. So I think what I'm going to do is, there's a couple of slots that are in it right here. I think I'm just going to cut it right straight across. The thing is, if I do that, I'm not going to be able to go back to this handle. I'm going to have to do this handle differently. But there is a groove for this handle. So I can take this piece out. This piece comes out. This is what slides here. But this handle does sit in a groove right here. Now I do have an extension for this. Oh, actually, you know what? I can still pull it out. So what we can do is we can just weld, plastic weld, or either JB weld this in. Oh, we shouldn't even have to do that because there's a groove cut in it. So when it goes together, so the handle's going to have to be probably extended out all the time, which is fine with me. So yeah, let's get to cutting on this piece. So we just removed this little section out here. Where the handle, where this piece used to set in. Let's see if it'll go. Nope, not quite. So I'm gonna have to cut it all the way down. Oops, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to cut it all the way down. This whole piece has to come out. Is what it looks like. The bad part is I don't know if I'm going to get the fan in here or not, because it's so big. But I notice that this piece right here is basically a sticker, and it covers up the holes right here. What I might do is I might mount that fan externally and blow air inside, run the wires down to the, my game plan is to run the wires to the motor, so that when the motor comes, when you turn the switch on, the motor comes on also. But I think that looks like maybe a process that I can do, and then that way I could blow air into this piece here when it automatically comes on. But either way, this whole piece has to come out. Maybe this piece right here. So let's go on and get those out. So that's what we look like now. Basically, I took off everything on the inside, even in this section right here, so that it's completely flat with it. So I bet it goes on there now, huh? Just like that. It does. Get the wires out. It's close enough for government work. I think it's hitting just a little teeny bit, but I mean, as you can see the line right there, it's pretty close. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with that. So let me get cleaned up because this everything's a mess from all that plastic flying around. So let me clean up before my wife gets home. Alrighty, so it looks like the wires going down to the motor. We're not gonna have a problem with those reaching. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these wires and put ends on them. Okay, so now these wires I'm going to have to extend. They're not going to make it. So we're going to go ahead and take a piece of wire, some butt splices, and get that all straightened up. Okay, so we got that all straight. Now I need to figure out our switch, our numbers, and our button. And here's what I'm thinking on the button. These will actually be somehow or other coming out of the cover. These two here, which is not a big thing, I can just cut a hole. This is going to have to be glued in, which I'm not real happy about that because it doesn't have, if you look real close at this, this just snaps in. I can cut a square this size and just shove it in and it snaps in. This does not have a snap of any kind, so this is going to have to be hot glued or something, which I'm going to work on that last. I'm going to keep the handle. And this handle will turn. So I'm thinking maybe I can take this button and make it fit into this handle so that I can still use the handle to turn. I'm going to assume that this comes off, and it does. It just slides off. There's a nut here. What I might do is I think I'm going to try to figure this button out first. And it really doesn't matter where it goes, it's all splined. So I can make it go wherever I want. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to be nice if I can, that's the off position. If I can make it set like that so that it's in the off position and have the off straight up, that would kind of be cool. But I think what I'm going to have to do is mount this piece. I might have to come up with an aluminum bracket or something to hold this in, if I can. But let's work on this button. See if we can get this button in this hole. So I forgot to turn my camera on. Basically what I did was I took a sanding barrel on the end of a Dremel tool and I just kind of stuck it in there, and I just kind of went around in small little circles until this fits in there really tight. Check it out. Fits in there perfect. So I'm going to glue this in, but I'm not going to do that now. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to line that blue mark up with the off mark so that I can still look at it and tell when it's off. But the only other thing is this handle is not going to go in. You know, I'm just glad I thought of that if I mount it where I wanted to mount it. So I wonder how far in it can go. So here we go. This is what I'm thinking of here. This handle goes in and out like this in this groove right here. Well, the thing is, I can't move it in and out if I mount this like I was thinking about doing. And the other thing is this can only go but so far in here now. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to bring this out to the point, and it's just going to have to stay there. So there is a place here in the bottom where I think I can mount right here. There's a flat piece where I think I can mount this like this. And then what I'll have to do is when I push this on, that's where it's going to have to stay. And I'm not going to be able to move it in or out. Yeah, most of the time I have the handle out though. So I think I might just mount it all the way out. And not take a chance. Alright, so that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with this handle out all the time. I won't be able to put the handle in or out. I think that's going to be the best thing. And if I find out that the handle has to come in, I'll basically have to move my bracket. But because when I'm in the John boat, it's usually extended all the way. When I'm in the, so that's just it, when I'm in the plastic boat, I usually don't extend the handle out. I can't really have the best of both worlds, can I? I could make it so that it's a short all the time and just use the extension. It would be nice if I could make this so that it would slide, because I got enough wire to do that. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know how I would go about doing that, because it would have to turn also. Actually, let's do this. Let's work on our fan unit. I'm going to cut this off. This little connector. I guess it fits something special, but I don't need that, so. These are some really teeny wires. So one thing I'm going to have to get is some screws. I don't think I'm going to have anything long enough to go down through here. But basically we're just going to run the wire through one of these holes like this. And then we'll just hook it up. We'll just hook it up to the battery. You know, I really don't need to look at this, but it would be nice to know how fast I'm going. But it's gonna have to come. Alright, so we're going to be mounted here. It's going to have to be somewhere along in there. I'm going to say right where that piece is right there. So this might conflict with my switch. So we're going to wait and do our switch last. Let's take a measurement, and I'm going to have to cut me a little square in here to put this in, because it would be nice to be able to see what the speed is on it, you know, where you're at. So it's 7/8. Seven-eighths of an inch by a little bit bigger than ½ inch. Alrighty, so this took forever, but I got the numbers to fit in there. This is going to definitely have to be glued in because there's nothing to hold it in. So I'm hoping I got this the right way, because the decimal points are on the bottom here, so I'm assuming that's the way it goes. But now I need to make a place for the switch, and I think I'm gonna put that right under that. Right about there. So some more grinding, but it's getting there. So I'll bring you back when I get the switch in, and we'll go from there. So hey there, I finally got the cover all done, and the switch fits in fine, and the numbers fit in fine. I wanted to hook this thing back up so that I could check the numbers, because I wanted to make sure the numbers were in the right direction, because I didn't want them upside down before I glued it in. And then I said, well, let me go ahead and wire this fan up. Luckily I got two of them, because what I did was I hooked the wires to where the hot and ground come out to go to the motor, figuring when you cut the motor on, hot ground cuts the motor on, so that would cut the fan on. So I hooked the fan up to it. It didn't do anything. And I was like, huh, well that's kind of odd. So I cut it off and cut it back on, plucked the fan a couple times, and the fan exploded. So it was a 2-for-1 deal, so I took the other fan and I wired it up direct to the battery, and it ran fine. But for some reason, when you hook it to power and negative coming out of this power with modulator, it doesn't run, and I don't understand that. I'm not really sure. So I've got to figure out a different way to wire the motor up. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Once I get that figured out, then I'll come back and we'll get this thing kind of semi put together. So there we go. So I tried to figure out how to wire this fan up through this pulse width modulator, and it won't work. So I'm going to wire it directly to the main battery of the boat through the modulator itself. So in other words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it. I'm going to connect it to these two wires here, which come from the battery, the main battery. And what I've done is I've drilled a hole in the back here, and I'm going to manually at this point just attach these two wires together when I get in the boat, so this fan comes on. And basically all I did was just put this fan here, and I just screwed it down to the top. I did have to cut the inside a little bit so it wouldn't stick down on the modulator, but I was really surprised at how much air comes through these little holes from this fan. This fan does like 3,500 RPMs, and how long it'll hold up I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how any of this is going to hold up. I mean, I know it works and it works fine, but I don't know how long it's going to last. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this. Basically I just took the wires and put ends on them, and I'm going to attach them direct so this can be taken off at any time. The only thing I have to do is put the switch in and glue this piece in, and then we will this will look pretty cool. I still have to get a bracket for this, so I'm going to go to my local hardware store tomorrow and see what I can find for that, and get the handle put on it, and we should be pretty much done. So yeah, there we go. So until tomorrow. Hey there, so it's been a couple of days. Just had a lot going on. But this is what we're thinking. I got me a little piece of aluminum here that I had left over from work, and I'm going to make a bracket to put this in. At the time I didn't think about it, but these here are pretty much in the way, so I can't put this here where I originally wanted to put it. So I'm gonna have to put it in front here, because these two are back behind these screws where it's put together. So I think I've got enough room to do that here, and just put the motor, or the switch, not the motor, but the switch here. And I'm going to take this piece of metal, bend a little bracket, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the bracket down in this piece here, and drill a hole in it, and then just mount this. And then I got to thinking, so that I don't mess this up, you know, it's still going to be really close. No, that'll fit. Check it out. Cool. What I'm going to do is, to prevent me from pushing or pulling on this and messing it up, I'm going to drill a little hole here and put a little pin in this so that it'll prevent me from pushing it in and messing something up. I'm just going to drill a hole and get like a little metal pin of some kind and stick right in there and then just glue it in place. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm probably gonna take this bracket and do a bunch of grinding to get this thing to fit in here, and I'm not gonna show y'all all of that. I'm just gonna show you the finished product when I get it in here, and because I imagine it's going to take a while to grind all this down, and I do not have something for my Dremel tool that will actually grind aluminum, so I'm going to have to figure something out there. But yeah, that's where we're at. So we're getting her all done. Appreciate you staying for this thing. So what I've come up with here is a little piece of that aluminum. I just made like a little L bracket, and it's kind of bent the way that it's gonna sit in this piece here. Then I drilled 2 holes in it, and that's where it's gonna mount. I'm gonna take 2 screws and just mount it in there like so. And I elongated this hole so that I could get the right adjustment. It's not much, but what I can do is, once I figure out exactly how it lines up with the handle, then I can tighten the nut down on it. So right now I'm in the process of marking my holes where I think it needs to be at. Basically I just set it in there with this attached. This was all together like so, and then I just stuck it in there on the handle and then just marked it, and that kind of gave me where I need to be at in here. So all I've got to do is just put my screws in, and I'm hoping that these screws will self-tap into this plastic. I don't know if it will or not. I drilled just a little bit into the plastic, but I don't have with me a smaller drill bit. So let me get some screws and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I found 2 screws. They're super long, but I'll just cut them off on the back side. Now let's see if they will screw in. There we go. Awesome. So let's get this one in. Now let's get our switch in. I'll tighten these down evenly. Alrighty. Now let's plug this in. That's for our fan. Made these wires way too long. I'll probably shorten them up.
And our jumper wires. Alrighty, so I got my battery hooked up. You can't see that in the picture. And make sure that we got positive to positive. See if I can do this here. I'm trying to do all this one-handed. Stick it in there or not and make it work. Oops. So the fan comes on. So we're in the off position. And our numbers are working. And we have forward. And the motor's running. And then reverse. Alrighty. Awesome. So there we go. Now how long it'll last? Who knows? Like I said, the only thing I'm going to do other than what I've done so far is I'm going to drill a hole, and I'll probably take like a little rivet like this and stick in there just to keep it so that it doesn't go in, and I'll just glue it in. Or I might just get a long cotter pin, stick a cotter pin through it. I just want to prevent the handle from being pushed in and bending that bracket. So there we go. That's my installation of a pulse width modulator, for what it's worth. I don't know, is it worth it? Maybe not, but we'll see. We'll get it out on the water this spring. It's still a little too cold to be getting out on the water for me anyway. And we'll try it out and see how it does. So there we go. If you're interested, pulse width modulator installation in a Minn Kota. I believe that is just a C30 is what it is. I think that's what it is. But appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of it.